like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Ray from Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Thanks for joining us for another week, looking at all the stuff that's going on in college sports. And we're going to take a look at some NFL and a few other things this week as well. College sports off to a good start with the playoffs. Maybe a good start. We'll talk about all that, but then we're also going to talk about what's going to be going on this week. We got the quarterfinals coming up as well. Fiesta Bowl with Penn State, Boise State, Peach Bowl with Texas and Arizona State, Ohio State and Oregon in the Rose Bowl, and we got the Sugar Bowl with Notre Dame and Georgia coming up. So we'll talk about those things. Got some good questions of the week as well. Which of the coaches are on the hottest seat going into the 2025 season, and talk about some of the bowl games that were going on. So thanks for joining us. If you want to, you can go ahead and follow the Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. You can do that on Facebook. We have a great Facebook group. We have a great Facebook page. We also have the website, Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. So you can go ahead and check that out as well. That'll let you listen to the podcast. You can listen to the podcast on the website. You can also find the place to listen to podcasts if you want to go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and so forth. We're also on YouTube, so check that out. You know what? We got a hell of a beer habit going on in this place. We got bourbon, we got whatever. If you want to support the show, you can do that, and you can do that through Venmo at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. You know, if you just type in Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, all one word, you will find us. So go ahead and check that out, all right, if you want to help us support the show. Now, let's go ahead and get some intros going here. We got a full house up in this place, man. We have one man who I thought quit on me. I was wondering if he was even going to come back to the show ever again, and that is my man, Rebel. How you doing, man?
I've been busy, man. I have work to do.
Hey.
You know, if the listeners would start patting pockets, maybe I could give up my day job.
Listen, prioritize the show, brother. I'm telling you. You haven't heard that. Oh, and then you want to speak out too, huh? 3 weeks later.
Well, once again,
finally come back.
We've discussed this. I was a little butthurt. My mom drove all the way down from New York, and then you just changed up everything and she couldn't be on the show. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. You heard his name. That's the rooster right there. Okay. I know. Okay. And next year we'll get your mom on the show. Maybe we'll do a call-in with her one day.
What's up, Rooster's mom?
And everyone wants to get on the show.
She got it going on.
We got Chopper over there. How's it going today, my man?
Hey, what's going on?
Merry Christmas to you. And
we're going to have
to
give you the tips.
And that you hear right there is the Chief. What's going on, brother?
Hey, it's been a great week except for a bowl game.
A bowl game?
Many bowl games, but one in particular.
Yeah, there's been that one, yeah, for sure. And then we also have Mountain Man, Mountain Mama, the Crackling Oat Brand himself over there.
Crackling Oat Brand? What have I missed?
I just make stuff up at this point.
And Mountain Patch Kid.
How you doing, Mountain Patch Kid?
I'm good, man. I'm just curious if Rooster and Rebel are also suing Leonard Hamilton. It sounds like you guys are looking for some NIL.
There we go. Hey, thank y'all for joining.
Will that work?
Thanks for coming in, everybody, for the show. I appreciate y'all. Let's go ahead and jump into what we're going to talk about. The best bowl games last week. I don't know if this is going to be conversation about the best bowl games of the week, but there's some that I wanted to just bring up specifically. So let's jump right into that, shall we? Vanderbilt beats Georgia Tech 35-27. We all knew this was going to be a good game. We talked about it last week. Actually, when they announced the bowls, we were all like, oh, yeah, that's going to be a great game. Diego Pavia, am I saying this right? Pavia? Dude, that guy's a beast, man. What did you think about him?
I thought he played a great game. I was rooting for him. By the end of the first quarter, I was like, this guy's going somewhere. And I wonder when
he's going there next year. He's going to be back one more time.
Back.
Wow.
And that could
he's
actually...
the new Bo Nix. He's going to have like 19 years.
That can
Nobody compares to Bo.
That can help them recruit a little bit better over there at Vanderbilt, you know? And being right there in Nashville, I would think, you know, with NIL money and things like that in that area, these teams like that might be able to recruit a little bit better going forward.
Unlike other colleges in the SEC, Vanderbilt still has academic standards.
Yes.
Big.
That happens. That's true, yeah.
No, Vanderbilt played well.
They did, yeah.
Barring the last 4 minutes of the game.
I think
right?
really,
Georgia
though.
Tech put a string of touchdowns together right there at the end. This game was a blowout up until the last.
Absolutely. And I thought Georgia Tech, as strong as they played against Georgia, they just looked sloppy for the first half at least. I mean,
uninspired.
Yep.
I don't know if they were uninspired, but doing things that they normally didn't do that got them success in the regular season. So turnovers, not stopping the run, which really surprised me against Vanderbilt. Wide open receivers on Vanderbilt. So not that Pavia is not a good quarterback. I just saw a Georgia Tech defense. Maybe it's uninspired at that point, but they were just wicked to run against. And Vanderbilt in the first half really didn't have any problems getting stopped, which opened up all sorts of plays.
Would you say they were wicked smart?
Now it's Georgia Tech. They're also pretty smart down there.
Yeah.
Some engineers.
Yeah, so Georgia Tech, there was times where I was like, oh, these guys might come back. Like you said, the last 4 minutes of the game, the first half, they stuck right there with Vanderbilt as well. But you could tell most of the game that Vanderbilt had the momentum on their side. Mountain Mama, you're just sitting over there, just this smirk on your face, just staring blankly at me. What's going on, brother?
No, nothing. It's just last time those two teams played was what, Thanksgiving weekend? So they had like 3 weeks off. So it was kind of slow. I mean, a lot of these bowl games are just, especially defensively. I think Nick Saban kind of pointed that out the other day. But I mean, this is sloppy. No tackling, bad defense. I mean, most of these games have been pretty high scoring too. We've had a couple of 3-4 overtime bowl games too. So I mean, I think it was a good bowl game between the two, but obviously I think Vanderbilt wanted it more.
Yeah, on paper it's a great matchup. I mean, two just grind them out teams, and I think we ended up getting a good game. But for the first 2.5 quarters or so, I was kind of flipping back and forth between this one and another game we're going to talk about. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. 3 weeks off. It's coaching. Get your head in the game, but it's also bowl games. Pull at all the stops.
Well, there's
high
also
offense. Entertain the crowd.
Also, a lot of guys that don't play. People getting drafted, transfer portal, and I mean,
I don't know if either one of these teams had a strong showing on that one. So
neither of them. Maybe they had 1 or 2 people sitting out.
When's the last time Vanderbilt went to a bowl game?
Yeah, it's been a couple years. No, 2017, I think.
Yeah, so you're talking. That's got to be some. I'll say some incentive for that team to get out there and do what they did.
And it was their first time they won a game since like 2012 or 2013 as well.
It's not the starters that you have to worry about in games like that. It's the guys who are second and third string and they decide to leave because they want to play somewhere. So it does hurt depth a little bit in these bowl games. I think just the starters that want to leave. So I don't know. I mean, I just think 3 weeks is. I mean, that's how it's always been. It used to be longer than that in most bowl cases. But 3 weeks, these guys, they're out of sync. They're out of practice. I don't know. They're sloppy.
I expected more out of Georgia Tech. The way that they played against Georgia, I expected them to really put it on Vanderbilt, and that was not the case. Rebel, you're over there, man. I know you got something to say on this as well.
You're spending too much time on this boring-ass game.
Oh, man. All right. Well, then let's move on.
Yeah, the score made it seem, the final score, if you didn't see the game, made it seem like, wow, this was close. But it wasn't. No. It was all Vandy until the end.
Yeah. What happened over there in UConn beating UNC?
Ouch. Nice Carolina blue shirt you're wearing,
Dude,
Chief.
we're going to jump right into this game because we got 2 UNC fans at the table.
That quarterback.
And
that was
UConn. They're like usually 1-11.
Barely made the bowls this year.
No, they were 8-4. Yeah, they were 8-4. They
in
were
what?
fine.
In what conference?
Oh yeah, that's true. In their own conference.
Just saying.
That defense was licking their chops when that 4th-string quarterback went in.
Look,
it was over.
It was dreadful. Look, watching that game. Look, I was giving Marshall all kinds of shit about not playing their game because of the defection of half their team. Watching that North Carolina game, Marshall made the right choice because that was dreadful. I mean, that's the most pitiful. I mean, North Carolina's had a history of having bad football in the past. That was awful. That was the worst showing I've ever seen from a North Carolina football team in 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Belichick was watching that game from the sorority houses, just licking his chops for next year.
Well, he wasn't there. Most time if you have a new coach, you've already signed. If they don't coach, they're there. They're being supportive. They're on the side. He's like, I want no part of this. Yep. This is not how I'm going to start my
There was
team.
no way Belichick was going to be at that game.
Not even a little bit.
I think I saw he was out on his boat with Jordan.
Did you see where they peeled away from the actual play? North Carolina had the ball, and this sideline reporter is playing wiffle ball, tossing the ball in the air and trying to hit it, and then he dives in a snowbank. And I'm like, we missed like 3 down.
That was the best play UNC had that game.
And it wasn't even UNC.
But like I said, watching that made me go, okay, I'm going to reconsider Marshall not playing their bowl game because that's what it would have looked like. I mean, it really would have. I mean, it was pitiful.
I don't understand. If you're a UNC player, you got Belichick coming. He's going to make that into an NFL combine, basically. And why the hell you would leave?
Because I think you're about to see him do to UNC what Deion did to Colorado. I think they already have got their walking papers. They know they're going to go out, have a good time, play, but they know that team is about to be just dismantled.
Deion has the savvy to do that stuff. I think Belichick's going to need a team to do that for him.
His girlfriend.
Well, he already got Mike Lombardi. He's already brought him down as a GM. So I mean, he's bringing like NFL level GM guys down to do this kind of stuff. So,
I don't know if you saw it, but he was on. He was on a podcast. It wasn't Guys at the Bars. He declined our offer. He was busy.
We declined his offer.
We declined his offer. Excuse me.
It's way too big for Bill Belichick.
But he's going to turn that college program into a literal NFL prep school.
100%.
And that's all it's going to be. So he's going to watch diets, workouts. Yep. He's going to psychology.
Well, one of the key pieces for him to sign the contract down there is they had to guarantee him $20 million in NIL money to work with to try to buy his team.
That's a huge number too, because a lot of the top tier programs sell 16, 17, 18 million.
But I had someone want to argue like North Carolina could never raise that kind of money for football. They don't care. I go, there's one man who'll stroke the check right now. Michael Jordan will stroke the check right now.
You've never been to Chapel Hill if you don't think they have money.
Correct.
Yep,
It's
exactly.
ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that being said, UConn just laid it on UNC only because they were depleted big time. Is that what we're getting at?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, UConn played decent. I just don't. I mean, North Carolina had an up and down year. I mean, UConn may have still beaten them, but
Their quarterback came from the University of Maine last year.
yeah.
Yeah. Fanano? Is that how you say his
I
name?
have no idea.
Fagnano.
Yeah, totally an Italian
Sounds
name.
Italian.
Right?
Fenginio.
Fenginio.
Fenginio. You got to say it with your hands.
The most intriguing thing about them, though, is Mora coming out right after the game going, don't come up here and try to tamper with my team.
Oh, what's he going to do about it?
That's what I'm sitting there going, I'm like, it's the Wild West. There's no rules against this. So you're throwing out empty threats.
He's out of
Shut
his
your
damn
mouth.
mind.
Does a team that is like Notre Dame, UConn, a team that is not affiliated with a conference, does that benefit them to be in that position only because they don't have to play in a conference championship game in order to get into the playoffs? So they go undefeated, boom. Or they go not undefeated, but if they lose 1 or 2 games, they're looking good to go.
Time will tell. Time will tell. I mean, I don't think it will long term because I think you're going to see the biggest revamping of a process in 1 year's time you've ever seen in college football. This will not look the same next year. There's just been too many holes that have been whittled through this to where you really don't know what your situation is your best situation right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Before it gets way out of control.
Yeah.
One more year, it'd be way out of control.
One game didn't expect to turn out the way it did with Oklahoma losing to Navy. SEC teams, you expect them to go in and beat Navy, Army, like the different, these lower tier teams. You expect that. It was a good game, 21-20. Navy barely wins, but I didn't expect that to happen.
Why go for 2 points?
No, that didn't make sense to me at all, right?
At all.
But Brent Venables, he's sitting there making that decision like, okay, at 50-50 shot, we get it, we don't, because that's about what a 2-point conversion is a 50-50 shot, right?
It's a bowl game.
It's a bowl game, has no meaning, and you are supposed to be that much better that you can get 2 yards whenever you want it.
Yep.
That's the way he looked at it, and
it
Didn't work out.
The interesting about him is I thought he was going to be able to, we talk about coaches on a hot seat. I thought he was going to be a little bit, but then he turned around, won a few big games, especially beating Alabama. I think that bought him a little leverage. But then you end up losing to Navy, and you end up with your second out of 3 seasons that are losing season as a result of that.
They finished 6 and 7, didn't they?
Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how much leash they give him moving forward.
Well, he
You
lost.
said the keywords.
He
Beat Alabama.
Alabama. That buys you 2 or 3 years.
But does it really buy you that many years when Alabama's not the team that they were in the last decade?
nobody. They're supposed to be in the playoff. Well, I mean, they should have been the 2nd or 3rd seed in the playoff. What are we talking about?
They should have been.
I mean, are you shitting me? They beat the de facto national champion.
I agree with everything you're saying.
I mean, fuck, guys, come on. This
Damn,
is the SEC, damn it.
High
so
tide.
aggressive.
High tide.
High tide.
We got a full house. We just got Cheeks running up in here. How you doing, Cheeks? Speak into the microphone, okay? Bring yourself.
Doing great.
Okay, thanks.
Put both your hands on it, please.
You got to put both your hands on the microphone. That's the.
I'm doing great.
Considering it's Rooster's microphone, yes.
It's like looking
It's
at
actually cheeks I'm borrowing.
Oh,
It's like looking at
I was going to say if it's
over there.
Roosters, you can use your 2 fingers. That's plenty.
All right. So Cheeks, we were having some fun before we started recording with this conversation, and you walked into a dirty mess today. I'm sorry. All right. I do apologize.
Sorry, cheeks. It's my first time.
Yeah. So it's 7 here. We have 6 microphone hookups, so we got 2 people sharing a microphone at this point. So, yeah. Anyway, that being said, let's move on. USC beats Texas A&M.
Oh, God.
You were happy about this, Cheeks.
Except I didn't pick USC again.
Yeah, and you should have, but nobody picked USC. I mean, I think like 10% of the country picked USC.
No, and every time I don't pick USC, they win.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't.
Both
Then
USCs,
please pick them
actually.
every week.
Yeah. I expected Texas A&M to win this game. I mean, they were not down a lot of players. When I was looking at all the stats, I was looking at the players that were playing. They have a lot of depth in that team as well. Mountain Man, you have been silent today, so I'm going to give you the first word on this game.
I mean, to be honest with you, I went to bed. I didn't even finish watching. No offense, Cheeks. When I see USC, I just want to go back to sleep. I mean, they are.
I don't think A&M was excited about this game.
A&M looked lethargic. That quarterback, what's his name?
Yeah, you expected more out of him because
Yes.
he played all season.
They just looked lethargic. They think they shouldn't have been there. Maybe they overlooked USC. But I just look at Lincoln Riley. I mean, I had to put up with him in the Big 12 for a while, and Oklahoma was a damn good team when he had him. No defense really, but still, this team, he's just doing a terrible job out there. And they're just not fun. I miss the Pete Carroll USC teams, right? I mean, this team's just boring.
Back when they were paying players and they had a squad like they're doing now. Yes, I do too.
What was Pete Carroll really doing, though? No, he was. Look, there's plenty of athletic talent in that area.
Well, he had Snoop Dogg on the sidelines, and I mean, he brought it. I mean, he made that team.
So he made the talent come in and stay there. So they wanted to play. They were going to play somewhere. Pete Carroll made it fun to stay at USC and hold on to in-state talent. There's 40 million people in California.
Yeah,
so there's talent there, but he went in with his recruiting strategy to hold in-state talent at USC, and that's why they won.
And along those lines, you're starting to see another USC starting to do exactly that because of the culture he's building, because they could never keep talent here. And if it did get here, it went to the upstate. So, look at the recruiting class they're coming in. That's kind of a culture he's trying to build here in Columbia. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, so, I mean, do you think that we're going to get into some hot seats pretty soon, but we all kind of agree that Lincoln Riley is right there, sitting there on the burner right now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what's his buyout? Cheeks is like 120 or something. Like it's up there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of people that said that back in Texas A&M days. Like
I think people care more about Texas football than they do USC football out in California.
People in California generally don't care about college football. Period.
It's a Laker town, right? Am I right? Cheeks is a Laker town.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to like them. I'm just saying.
It depends on the season because it's been a Kingstown.
Oh, you get the Dodgers too. I mean,
49ers.
it's a professional sports town.
Yeah, right.
It's a professional sports
That's
town.
my point. It's not
Absolutely. They have
excel at
2
something.
NFL teams now.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, but I mean, have you seen the attendance at Charger games? They were filling half the stadium, so I wouldn't call them a football town, period.
Yeah, they're
It's either going to be basketball or it's going to be
No,
baseball.
but what I'm saying though is, if they go pay to watch sport, it's a pro sport. The college sport just doesn't get the pull the attraction.
LA is a TikTok town, okay? All you have is a bunch of TikTok folks out there doing TikTok videos on the street. That's it. The people that go to visit the place, they're going there for Hollywood. So, I mean, I imagine everyone that's out there is the same way.
There's more than just LA, though. A lot of people forget about Northern California. I mean, Oakland did, evidently, since all their teams are leaving.
Yeah. I mean, it's just California for sure.
Have you been to Oakland recently? All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Too violent of a sport. That's what they say out there, I'm sure. So, moving on. So,
Those crazy fans still go to Las Vegas. It's only 5 hours.
that's true. Okay, Pinstripe Bowl, Nebraska versus Boston College. The only reason why I brought this up, because that was a dirty-ass game, man. Those guys were freaking filthy. It was like the 1970s out there. That's what I was thinking about that game.
Well, I mean, they were playing in snow, rain on a baseball field.
Is that Fenway or is that New York?
It was New York. Yeah, it was Yankee Stadium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium.
Stripe.
Yeah.
Well,
So
the Mets wear pinstripes.
Touche.
nobody heard you say pinstripe because you didn't have your face to the microphone. My friend.
Douchebag.
Lips tickling the microphone. All right.
That was a good game because it actually had some defense in it, unlike most of the other bowls.
You know what? I'm getting all that damn quarterback from Nebraska. I cannot stand to watch him play.
Dylan Rail. Yeah.
I mean, that guy. He's got a problem. They got to sit him down and say, "Buddy, stop acting like Patrick Mahomes." He waddles like Mahomes. He tries to throw like Mahomes. He holds his head. I mean, everything is like Patrick Mahomes, except he's not. He's really not that. I mean, is he that good?
He's good enough to get Nebraska to their first bowl game since 2016.
Well, I mean, what was their record? Weren't they 6-6 also, or something like that? I mean,
7-5.
okay. I mean, there's 48 bowl games. There's a lot of 5-7. Louisiana Tech made a bowl game, so I don't know. I like Nebraska. I like Matt Rule, but that Riola kid, stop it already. It's ridiculous.
I think Matt Rule's the right coach for Nebraska. I mean, his comments were, "This is the last time we're going to be excited about a 6-6 season," because they were 6-6.
They were 6-6. Okay.
So
that's right. They barely made a bowl.
I checked with the producers in the back. So they just sent it to my headphones, however this technology works. But I think it's the right coach, the right mentality for the Nebraska program. I don't know that they're going to be a 10-2, 11-1 type of team, but I think they'll be 8-4 next year. I think they're heading in the right direction. It's good to see Nebraska football back. I'm not a huge Nebraska fan. Hated them in the 90s, but they were freaking good. Yeah. There's tons of talent in that area. I think Matt Rule's the right guy.
There's tons of great linemen in that area, but I don't know about. I mean,
they all go to Iowa now.
They all go to Iowa. That is true. Yeah. I mean,
Except for the quarterbacks. They don't go to Iowa.
No, I said linemen.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, the linemen, yeah, those
corn-fed boys.
Corn-fed boys. That's what they used to call them back in the day. Yeah, the corn-fed boys. Colorado gets destroyed by BYU, 36-14. Shador Sanders
looked like trash.
He was being attacked by BYU's defense, and he didn't give them credit whatsoever. Supposedly after the game, he was saying, "Oh yeah, we beat ourselves." Bullshit.
Did you
BYU was all
expect any
over
different?
these guys. I expected a shootout. I expected both teams to be able to throw the ball. Get that ball into the air, get some touchdowns. I mean, Shador was just getting destroyed, man. It was bad.
Well, I said at first I was kind of like, I like the fact that Dion said, "Hey, you need to play." Hey, I can agree with that one. He got them a really big fat insurance policy in the event they got hurt. Yep. I like that. But I said many times, based off of how they played in that game, those two are too good. They're too good. It ain't going to affect them whatsoever. But if you've got like a mid to late first round guy and his last name's not Sanders, the way that game played, does that lasting image go into draft day to where you did yourself a disservice by playing in a game you probably didn't have to play in and played like crap? I mean, I don't know.
And how does it impact recruiting at Colorado for next year?
They're top 20 recruiting right now for, I
was going to say, the recruiting is done. They're done.
Yeah. Well, that's another rabbit hole we can talk about another day. Recruiting now is how much money do you have to sling? I mean, that's it.
It's free agency.
It's free agency.
But they just had the Heisman winner on their team. They got Shedeur Sanders, who's about to get paid. Nobody that's already committed to Colorado is leaving because of a meaningless bowl game.
No, it was more along the lines of if there's a not one of your top 5, 6, 10 guys that's going into the draft and they play a game like that. I mean, Hunter didn't even look that good. Now, granted, they were just double teaming ball game. Does that hurt their draft stock if you're going into it and that's the last image they have is you playing in a kind of a garbage bowl game that you didn't play real well in?
I just makes you wonder if they'll have to do their pro days and they'll have to go to the combine and do something because, like you said, it's BYU. I mean, I
guarantee you, neither Shedeur or Hunter are going to any kind of combine. 100% not.
I bet you they do. What they choose to do when they're there, we'll see. But I bet they do go.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
Yeah, I don't agree, Travis Hunter.
Not so fast, my friend.
They're going to the combine, my man.
Dying to hit that button.
I've been dying to hit that button since you walked through the door. Hold on, let me try it one more time.
I love it. Not so fast,
my friend.
Mountain crackling mama.
I bet you a beer they're there.
I bet you a beer. They both need to be there for you to win?
Yeah, both of them will be there.
And what is your reasoning behind thinking that they're going to be there?
Sanders is going to have his own combine. They're not going to go to the NFL combine.
Right, but there's a lot more that happens than just getting weighed in and throwing footballs. They do a lot of interviews there. They do a lot of shit like that.
He's going to set up his own Colorado freaking combine. They're not going to go to the NFL combine.
I think you're saying he's saying two different things. I think they'll be there just to be seen, to be heard, to interview, that kind of stuff. They may not perform until they do their own.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see them throw a ball or catch a ball or any of that kind of stuff. I think they're going to be there though.
I don't think they're going to be there. I'll bet you the beer. They both need to be there.
All right. You're on, pal.
I'm going to talk to the owner. I'm going to talk to the owner of MJ's and have him buy some 32-ounce mugs because that beer is going to.
I thought you were going to say some malt liquor.
No, Colt 45 over there.
Colorado had 2 yards.
Mickey Big Mouth.
Mickey's. Colorado had 2 yards rushing that game. That was pathetic, man.
Who's Colorado's running back? Does anyone even know who Colorado's running back is?
They have running backs?
I don't even think the guys in the back know. Oh, we got someone that knows. Who is it?
Yeah, it's Dallin Hayden, actually.
Dallin Hayden. Came from Ohio. Oh, that's the reason why. I don't know.
He was actually decent at Ohio State.
So
That's
we have
ridiculous.
So is Kyle McCord.
We have an audience today, and it is one that we fired from the show.
ACC record-breaking season. Should have been at the Heisman. Do we need to talk about this right now?
Let's move on.
Who's the one ACC win in bowl game so far?
Like we don't know.
That was the former Big East school known as Syracuse.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And who's their quarterback?
I've been saying all year, Kyle McCord.
And how many yards did he have?
A lot.
453 yards, okay?
Hey, how many interceptions against Pitt did he have again?
Moving on.
I wasn't bringing up the Syracuse game, but do you want me to?
I mean,
you should have. It's better than the freaking
look, give him
Pinstripe Bowl.
Give him credit, man. He passed Mr. Jack Shack himself for all-time passing yards in the bowl game.
Somebody had to take him off the record books. Throw the towel on him.
Not all hero wear capes, right?
Somebody did.
I could look at my notes from last week, but I think we already talked about that game. So you missed out last week by not being here, my friend.
I understand.
Hold on. Let me do it again.
Not so fast, my friend.
Kyle McCord should have been at the Heisman ceremony. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on.
He totally should have been. I said that a couple weeks ago as well. You weren't here for that either. Neither was your mom.
That's because you changed everything and we were prepared, and then you decided to change the date because you had something going on. Let's move on.
Well, it's about adaptability.
We'll move on. I think he's mad at me. All right. Question for the week, man. Most warm.
I'm not mad in my mom's words.
Can I move on from this?
I'm disappointed.
Thank you. Most warm coaching seats going into the 2025 season. We talked about a couple of them already. Brent Venables, is he going to get fired next season if he goes 6-6 again?
Well, I'd have to think he's on the hot seat.
Oklahoma has high expectations for their coaches.
That they do, and the thing that's hard for him is for years. I mean, back in the 80s, 90s, they were a defensive stonewall, and then they brought in these guys who scored 50, 60 points a game, and that's what they're used to seeing. And now you got a defensive guy again. So I think he is, just because even if he's winning games, he's not winning them in a manner which is sightly, we'll call it.
Unless he's playing Alabama.
Unless he's playing Alabama, and a lot more people should have done what he did to them. But no, I think he's going to be in conversation if he goes 6-6 again.
It's odd because Brent Venables, defensive mind, defensive guy, going into the Big 12, that's huge because Big 12 is never known as having defenses. But now you got they're in the SEC, and you have to have both sides. Well, you have to have defense and offense.
I think he can go 6-6 and keep his job if he wins Red River rivalry and beats one other top SEC school.
So he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's definitely on the hot seat.
And they're in a top. I think they are in around number 15 for their recruiting class right now, maybe 17, and that's for recruiting and the portal. Now the portal window did close. I think it was Sunday night. So there's not a lot of changes happening there. Once we hit April, it'll be a different story. So they're going to find their weaknesses. I'm sure he'll find some players to come there and play, but man, they need to really step it up because in the SEC, if you look at the top 20 teams for recruiting, it's like 7 or 8 of them are in the top 10 are the SEC teams, and then you have 3 or 4 are going to be your Big Ten teams as well.
Here's my biggest complaint about Venables, and it's what you're talking about from a defensive mindset is he's had decent quarterback recruiting. He hasn't been able to do anything with it. He needs to bring in an offensive coordinator. You're a head coach. If he's defensive minded, it doesn't matter. It's where you coach your defensive coordinator to coach. His offensive coordinator is letting him down. They need to do something different. I'm not sure what the answer is.
The problem is I think he's got the Will Muschamp syndrome. He can get a coordinator, but he just can't stay out of it. He's too much of a control guy to go, that's your offense, go with it.
But he's never been an offensive guy.
It don't matter. He's head coach. It's like Muschamp. Muschamp was never been an offensive guy, but he just couldn't. He's still going to try to put his 2 cents on the offense versus going, just take this, do what you want to with it, and just score points. I don't give a damn what you're doing.
Yeah, they fired their offensive coordinator too. Seth LeClair.
Correct.
Yeah, they needed to. Like I said, if you look at the recruiting, they've had 5-star quarterbacks in the last 3 years. They've done squadouche with them.
Yeah, they had Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They've had good quarterbacks. Yeah. Like recruiting wise, they're still recruiting, but they're not turning them into stars. You got to have somebody that's going to be, a Harbaugh that turns your quarterback into a stud. They haven't been able to figure that out.
Lincoln Riley, we already said this. I mean, this guy needs to figure things out over there in USC. Now, you guys just said it that California don't care about having a football team, but you know what? They paid a lot of money for Lincoln Riley to bring that program back. The school cares about having that program where it needs to be. They're in the Big Ten now. They need to compete. Cheeks, I mean, Lincoln Riley, is he gone next season?
I don't think he is, but I think he needs to look at some of his staff.
Yeah.
I think he needs to make some changes.
It's insane that as much money as they're going to invest in that guy, they stole him away from Oklahoma. Go ahead, man. Bring it in.
No, I need the not so fast button on that one.
Not so fast, my friend.
Look. You had a stud quarterback last year. You didn't. You were what 9-3 with a stud quarterback.
Stud's relative.
Okay, well, a princess.
We already know.
Unicorn quarterback.
There you go.
Unicorn quarterback. I'm a darn Bears fan. Thanks for bringing it up. All right. And then he played in the bowl game. Their quarterback right now played in the bowl game last year. Threw 400 yards. Everybody's like, "Hey, USC's going to be something this year, right, Cheeks?"
Yeah.
Sure as hell they were.
It looked promising. Yeah, and no, they went in the Big Ten and they realized what defense was. Yeah. So. They got to change their style. I don't know if Lincoln Riley is the right head coach for the Big Ten.
I got one better than that. I don't think he's a head coach. He's an OC.
Venables needs to bring him back to OU as a
as his
offensive coordinator. Now that's a program right there.
Funny.
Yeah, that's a program.
Lincoln Riley's brother is a coordinator at Clemson.
Correct.
Was. Oh, he's okay.
You know where
Yeah,
Lincoln
he's not
Riley
this year.
started? Texas Tech under Mike Leach as a graduate assistant.
Yeah,
he was
part of-
quarterback for Mike Leach.
He was part of that Hell Mummy.
And Kingsbury and that whole bunch
right.
down
Kingsbury,
there.
Dana Holgerson, that whole
That's
group.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So I mean, Lincoln Riley they weren't winning national championships at Oklahoma under Lincoln Riley, but they were competitive every single year.
They made the playoffs like 3 times.
Exactly. Yeah. So they were competitive every single year, but this year, I mean, he just has not figured out at USC. So
College football needs USC to be good. They're one of those staples, like when USC, Ohio State,
Nebraska, Michigan.
They're one of the teams that they need to. College football needs them. They need to be good.
And you're on the West Coast, you can do it. Oregon does it every single year now.
Yeah, and what I also can't figure out is UCLA used to have a competitive program. They're not doing anything. Nobody's going to UCLA anymore. So they're like I said, they're the team of California for the most part.
Los Angeles, anyway.
No, I mean
Southern Cal.
Yeah. Okay. So they have the talent. Not sure they got the right coach, Cheeks.
But
I'm not going to argue with that.
He looks pretty.
He is a pretty boy.
All of these teams, both of these teams have top 20 recruiting classes right now. FSU and Mike Norvell, on the other hand, they were a top 5 recruiting class last year. The year before that, this year, they're at 23. They've fallen big time because of this season, and I don't know if there's anything he could do to repair that. I mean,
of course there is.
What?
You go get donors and you spend $35 million a year.
But they're not going to spend $35 million a year.
Oh, they might.
Florida State?
Yeah, they might.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. We're in a world now. Oh, we're not. When you don't go, we got to recruit better. No, we got to go spend more money. And, that's just where it is. That's you go down there, you can start throwing around dollars, and they'll forget about this year just like that, and it's gone. Oh no, hey, I'm getting paid $2 million to come down here. That's all it's going to take.
I mean, there's some conversation getting out there is that from an NIL standpoint, are we going to see an exhaustion of funds from NIL?
That's what my man in the back here is saying. Is
Our
there's a lot
producer's
of
throwing that?
It's kind of a lot of conversations going toward they're going to cap it. They're going to put salary cap on it. Basically.
And even if they didn't, I think there's going to be an exhaustion rate. I don't think that the sustainability of $200-300 million a year to go to the top 50 schools is going to be something that keeps on happening. Eventually, the donors are going to say, "Hey, Ohio State, I gave you $2 million last year. I'm not giving you $2 million because you didn't do what I thought you were going to do." If they lose to Oregon, which we'll talk about, but if your team doesn't produce, is that donor going to say, "Yeah, I'm cutting back next year"? Now you just got dropped $1 million.
I listened to a guy the other day, and he had made a lot of sense. That basically said, if they don't rein this in, and I really do think they're going to, that what you're going to have to ultimately see without salary caps, or you're going to exhaust it. I mean, the dollars will dry up. Is that you're going to see companies, private equity, come in and try to purchase majority ownership of college sports teams to where they can bring in sponsors and all this and run it like a pro team, to where then it's just a matter of how much money, big money, you're talking about coming in at that point. I don't think it goes there because they're going to rein it in well before it gets there.
They got the collective bargaining thing in April, I believe, and that's supposed to be. I think everybody's capped at $20 million there. But that's $20 million for every sports program, I believe. I don't necessarily go towards football, but
that's going like $30,000 a year to each student.
But we're the next step will be there's going to be a union. These guys are going to come together and create a players union. I mean, they're just because when we start throwing caps on it, well, I'm going to sue because you're taking my right away to earn money. I know it worked in the NFL, but that's because it worked back in the day in the 90s. We're in a new world now.
The catch is going to be, keep in mind, is we've created minor leagues, and it's what it disgusts me, but that's where it is. Yeah. The cat's out. But these are still state institutions that have to run by state government. So you can't just have a players union, because you can't forget you got to support these other sports too, because they get equal rights at the table to an extent.
Some are state, not all of them are.
Not all of them, but I'm saying though, the thing is, you're going to have like Title IX and all this other kind of crap start to kick in to where they can't just we're going to have a players union for football. Well, what about basketball? What about women's equestrian? All that stuff's going to come into play.
I love how you just use women's equestrian for that. That's obscure.
I like it. Title IX.
South Carolina has a very good equestrian team.
They've won a national championship.
So
I'm sure their NIL is in the tens.
If a private school accepts government money as well through
federal,
then
they have to comply with Title IX and all the other regulations.
Yeah, but I still don't think. I mean, we've talked about it. Football is going to break away from the NCAA. It will not be a part of.
It has nothing to do with
this. Is federal regulation
because they're part
the
of
NCAA.
They're part of a federal.
What does Title IX have to do with college football?
A lot.
It has to do with the fact that they are representing and quote owned by a state institution. It has nothing to do with the sport.
By somebody who accepts federal money
and etc. stuff like that.
All right.
Okay.
This is all from conversation about Mike Norvell at FSU.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring this conversation back. All right. That dude is on the hot seat. I don't care how much his buyout is.
I'll tell you one more.
Because if they could spend $35 million on a bunch of players, they could definitely throw some cash at getting that guy's buyout taken care of as well.
I think he's gone. Even with the help of Gus Malzahn, he's gone.
That's going to make a difference.
The one
it is.
One that nobody cares about that I think is gone is Dave Dorn at NC State.
Oh, at NC State, they fell apart this year.
He was. I mean, many people picked him to win the ACC. That he was supposed to be the class act to fight FSU to win the whole thing. I mean, he was supposed to blow past Clemson like they weren't there. Yep. And again, he's getting top 20 recruiting classes. He's got the resources down in Raleigh.
What happened? What did happen?
The only team he beat North Carolina, but he lost to ECU. He lost to Clemson.
He lost to Duke.
I think he lost
to Duke. He lost to Duke.
So again, it's you talk about a hot seat for a Power 4 school. I mean, he's been there for a while and he's not done anything.
Yeah. Do they have money, NC State?
Not like Chapel Hill or Duke or one of those.
The other one's Hugh Freeze, right? Top 5 recruiting class right now.
They're recruiting too well to get that guy going.
Top 5, but I'm telling you, if he doesn't do something with that next year,
he does have pressure on him.
I mean, 5 losses next year, and whoo.
I mean, Auburn that's a crazy fan base down there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a different world.
5 losses and people go crazy.
Auburn.
4 losses may be okay.
Yeah,
is that a football school? I thought they were a basketball school.
I'm not.
To be honest, we're actually an equestrian school. To be quite honest with you, and if you don't think so, look it up.
I thought Carolina was an equestrian school.
I thought Auburn had synchronized swimming, really good, strong program.
The sad state of affairs in Auburn, Alabama.
Hey, swimming, we've won a bunch of national champions. I'm not lying. Swimming and equestrian. Look it up.
Hey,
Hashtag.
we're gonna be guys at the bar talking equestrian sports soon. Okay, that's the plan. All right. So speaking of an Auburn team, that is one of the teams I had on my keep an eye on for 2025 because of the fact that they are recruiting like hell. They had a good recruiting class last year as well. So besides the fact that they made some early mistakes in games and so forth throughout the season. There was games where, one mistake, two mistakes, they would have won that game. So they could have had a much better season. Another team, I would like to get y'all's thought on this. Michigan, a young team this year, they're a top 10 recruiting class. Big Ten is not as competitive as, let's say, the SEC is. So I think you got to keep your eyes on Michigan.
Are they not? I mean, you have 2 teams in the playoffs. 3 teams in the playoffs, excuse me.
4 teams in the playoffs.
4 teams in the playoffs, and we're talking about not as competitive.
Indiana, come on, dude.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, we keep talking about the high and mighty SEC, which we all live here, and we love them, okay?
Some.
There's 2 SEC teams that probably could have had a better game in Indiana than the Indiana Hoosiers had. I think we all agree with that. Did Indiana?
There's 3 teams. So Ole Miss would have played better than.
Hey, the only team that should have been there is South Carolina. You shut the hell up. Okay, let's move on.
Alabama would have done better, and so would South Carolina.
No,
There's 3 teams.
100%. I think we all know that. They're much more built for that, and I think Cignetti's going to learn a different style because again, it's Big Ten. You got to be able to play in the rain. The shit. It's going to be different for him.
They were out talented. That weather had nothing to do with that.
Notre Dame is surprising us, but let's talk about that later. Okay. But all I'm saying
so
is,
we don't need to keep our eyes on Michigan.
No, hell no. Young coach, a depleted program. They got good recruits coming
Ohio
in.
State.
And they beat Ohio State. That's better than Oklahoma beating Alabama.
Young coach managed to keep that team on track with recruiting, doing better.
He's going nowhere. He's got 5 years.
Yeah, he's going nowhere. So Michigan, you got to keep an eye on him. We're not talking about going somewhere. We're talking about Michigan is the team to keep an eye on for 2025 in the Big Ten.
Oh, definitely. They got money, too.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, their new quarterback's getting paid, $10 million?
Yeah.
No, it's not that much.
Let's just say every
$10 million over 4 years. Yeah.
Okay, so
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million a year. That's pretty.
And I think it's funded by
Sellers
Press
getting
from
2.7.
another shitty podcast. I can't remember who that is. Never mind.
So 90% of the calls that I'm on for General Motors is go blue at the end of the freaking game or at the end of the call. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So there's a lot of money going into that program
it's not your fault.
from the automakers and so forth. So
Not your fault.
it's not my fault. I know.
Hey, here's another thing to think about Alabama, right? So if they lose 3 games next year,
he's gone.
He's gone.
I think he is. I totally agree
Stop.
with that. They will get crazy.
What is the win percentage for first-year coaches in NCAA football?
It's a different world now.
What is the average wins in a season for a new coach in a new program?
Doesn't matter.
The expectations at Alabama are not
I understand.
average.
I understand they brought him in and all that kind of good stuff.
He is gone.
He is not. They're not going to kick him out after 2 years.
If 3 losses next year, he's gone.
4 losses, yes. 3 losses,
3 losses,
no.
gone.
No.
There's no way.
I want to hear.
Depends on who the 3 losses are to. If it's like this year and lose to programs that's like Vanderbilt,
it doesn't matter.
He will not be gone because his lifeboat is going to be in the form of Nick Saban. It's going to go, don't be stupid. You got to give him more than 2 years. Because he still has that kind of influence.
Which teams are we looking at next year as potential contenders for a playoff?
Can we talk about one more hot seat real quick?
I was trying to move on from that, but yes, I will let you take control of it.
I want to bring up Dabo Sweeney.
No
way,
man.
Not happening.
No.
He's a lifer.
Okay.
He is a lifer.
He's a lifer.
Look, I mean, the reason it's not is because it's going to be in question, and it makes me want to vomit to say this. He's been staying on the fringe of competitiveness, and he's not been using the resources at his discretion that are freewheeling. And now he's starting to dabble in the portal, and now he's starting to throw money around. And you're playing in the worst conference, Power 4 conference there is. This won't be a conversation again in 2 years because it's like the kid of cocaine. Once he gets it, he'll go in there.
Okay, so let's talk about another subject then.
He'll be Cocaine Bear all of a sudden.
Will the rules change next year about the Power 4?
In what regard?
They won the ACC and they were in the playoffs.
The rules are the same this coming year that they were this year.
So we're talking about 2026.
But 2026, absolutely.
What rules are you talking about?
That your guaranteed spot.
No. They'll still. Here's going to be the difference, and they can change this next year if they're inclined to do so. You will still get a guaranteed spot. You won't get a guaranteed first round bye. You'll get your 12 teams in, and then you seed them. And if you win the ACC and you're the 12th seed, you go in and you have to play the 1 seed in the first round. The 5 seed.
The first round bye is set in stone for next year as well, but they will start tinkering with it. They might do 16 teams in 2026. They might do 10 teams or 8 teams or 14 teams. Who knows what they're going to do in 2026? But they definitely, I think that they're going to get rid of this first round bye.
They're never going to go down. It's only going to go up.
Okay, I sidetracked us. I'm sorry, Ray.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think they'll do the first round bye. Or I think they'll make sure that the conference championship team gets in no matter what. Right?
Yeah, but they just won't get guaranteed a bye.
Yeah, exactly. Like it'll be everyone will be a Clemson basically. You'll be where you're placed. So if there's 12 teams available and Clemson's number 17 and SMU is let's say Boise State we have number 15, they would just be 11 and 12 seeds.
I mean, because think about it. It didn't happen this year. And let's just pick a team. I don't care. West Virginia next year runs a table, loses in their conference championship game. They wouldn't get a first round bye in the world we're in right now. Okay, and they'd be ranked number 1 in the country, losing the conference championship in a nail biter field goal last second. They wouldn't get a first round bye in the way it's set up right now. That didn't happen this year, but that's the way this setup is. That's potential, and that's why it won't continue.
All right, so teams to keep your eye on next year. Can I get you all focused in on this one? Teams to be keeping an eye on next year, right?
I'll give you one.
Besides the Florida Gators.
Oh, shit.
Because we all know the Florida Gators are going to win the SEC next year. But we also are looking at Carolina because everyone knows Carolina is bringing back one of the best quarterbacks in the country, I think, next year. I think that Sellers is going to be a freaking stud next year.
So you're talking about South Carolina.
I think you should talk about both
South Carolina, yeah.
But both Carolinas.
No. North Carolina is going to have some rebuilding to do.
No, I think it's just going to be a matter of you're going to watch him because it's going to be like, can Belichick come in and do what he's claiming, or is it just going to be all smoke and mirrors?
First year expectations for a coach who has not had what Alabama had, which was great recruiting and so forth. That's a different story for Alabama. We talked about that a minute ago. But Belichick is going to have to rebuild that team starting January 1st, basically.
I mean, Dion, he was 4-8 his first year at Colorado doing this similar method. So I wouldn't be shocked if Belichick isn't 500.
I'm going to throw out a name here.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The name I'm going to throw out here is Fran Brown. Are you familiar?
Yes.
Enlighten me.
He's the Syracuse coach.
9-3, walked into a program that was 3-9, made some offseason moves, brought in a Heisman candidate quarterback. Oh, wait, never mind. But in the ACC, and that's why I bring it up, because comparable apples to apples, ACC play, Belichick's going to bring in the talent. He's going to hit that portal. UNC will be 8-4, 9-3 next year.
Quinn Ewers is going to be his quarterback.
You think so?
Absolutely.
100%. Like, why would Quinn stay at Texas?
They've already said they're passing the torch. I've even heard that he's got his leash about this short in the playoff if he starts screwing up. And he's basically saying because his stock has dropped, it behooves him to stay in college and make more money. Yeah. He's going to be playing the Chapel
Well, I don't
next
got
year.
his stay, but
He's already announced that he's going to the NFL.
No, he hasn't.
No, he has not.
No, he has not.
I'm almost certain.
I promise you he has.
You better check with the producers on that
That's
one.
Beck.
Producers?
Beck's announced he's going to the
Beck is going, which he's going to be a late second, maybe third round pick.
maybe.
If he's lucky.
see, I kind of thought Arch Manning would end up going to North Carolina.
No. That boy is staying at Texas. They're going to hold on to him for dear life.
He's making too much money.
Yeah, but that's
He's
not-
making a
it's
ton
not
of money.
about
He's only a
it's not about money.
sophomore. He's going to play for 1 year, and he's going NFL.
But I mean, you know how much respect the Mannings have for Bill Belichick. There's a mutual respect there.
Respect is one thing. Money's another.
I think.
Money ain't an issue for Arch Manning. Kids.
No, I think Texas has. I think they've worn weary of Ewers. They're ready to move on.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So they're going to pay Manning to keep him.
I don't know what the respect factor was that they put Ewers back in this year, to be honest with you. Arch Manning is obviously
He's
the
not a
superior
better
choice.
quarterback. No,
he
he's
is
not. You watch
He's
it
a
when
dual
he play.
threat quarterback. He
looked
offers
awful against-
way more.
He looked
Terrible
awful against
passing.
Georgia.
He's not
Terrible.
that. He's good. He's great, but he's not better than Ewers.
He looked awful after sitting on the sidelines for a quarter and then coming in halfway through a game. Come on.
He's not the quarterback he's a good
Okay,
quarterback.
watch it next year when Texas is again in the playoffs.
They'll be in the playoffs.
Oh, maybe.
But I don't think that Arch Manning's like the guy that you think he is. So
I don't either.
Not so fast.
Overrated.
Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast, my friend.
no, that's actually yes so fast. Okay, that's a yes so fast. I'm gonna actually find somebody that says yes so fast so I could freaking counter you on that crap. All right.
Yes.
Now moving on.
Let's get fired up in here
Let's get
tonight,
fired
baby.
up. I got Auburn as a team to look forward to next year as well.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
I mean, the way they recruited this year, they were recruiting last year and so forth. I mean, I think that this is a team that you're gonna have to watch out for, man.
I completely agree with that. We won't be bad for too long.
But there's a lot going on in the SEC though, because you already have Georgia, you already have Ole Miss. Ole Miss is losing their quarterback, Jackson Dart, so that might be a little bit of a challenge to fill his shoes.
But do LSU and Ole Miss kind of take a step back?
LSU's not taking a step back either, because these are all teams that are top 10.
I don't know.
No, LSU's going to take a step back until they get rid of their coach.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is going to take a step back. I predict Georgia is going to take a little bit of a step back.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. They're
no, when I say step back, I don't mean they're going to lose 5 games. But I'm saying every year, they're ranked 1. They're ranked 1. That stuff's going to back up a little bit here.
I think Auburn and Florida jump into those spots that those teams are in now.
And South Carolina, man, I'm just telling you, they recruit. Look, you give Sellers a good offensive line because his offensive line was still quite porous this year. That's why he was running for his life. You give him a little bit of blocking. Hey, and I mean, you see some of their transfer guys that have come in. They've brought a lot of good. I mean, now they got a backup 5-star from Ohio State that's his transfer down here as a quarterback.
But Sellers grew as a quarterback too, starting off as a freshman, being so wet behind the ears.
Yeah, he was slow coming in, but I mean, by the end of the season, you were like, "Holy shit, who is this guy?"
He didn't look like a freshman.
He does his second year, but I think he's great. I think he's fantastic. I think all signs point to him being just phenomenal next year. I need to see that, though. I need to see him
protect the ball. That's all I need to see him do. Protect the ball.
Initial, hey, now I'm getting paid. Now the attention's on me. Now everybody knows I'm good, thinks I'm good. Can you perform under that?
So there's another one, and I agree with all that. But I was kind of curious, as y'all guys are South Carolina fans and stuff. Like, are you nervous about next year? Are you worried the hype may not live up to the hype?
No, it's South Carolina. Let me tell you what. This is what's one of the good things about this fan base. And even when it's great or it's bad, you make a bowl game, they're content.
Yeah, I get that.
They're content.
I get that, but I think the feeling is playoffs next year. They feel like they should make the playoffs.
They can, but again, if they don't, it's not going to be a matter of, oh, no, blow the whole thing up like you have at Alabama. That's
right. Well, I do got one more SEC team to watch out for. And if you pay attention to the transfer portal, Missouri is loading up on the transfer portal.
Is Captain Dinkin Dunk still their coach?
He's still the coach.
Oh, then don't worry about Missouri.
I mean, they're deep.
I don't know, man.
I think a bunch of defense in there. I'm telling you.
This year, not so great. Last year, they were really good.
I mean, they're 10-3 this year.
They had a crappy schedule.
Yeah.
They should have done better.
Expectations were higher for Missouri for me. I thought they were going to be at least a playoff team for sure. At the beginning of the season, you heard me saying that.
You said Liberty would be undefeated too, but I digress.
James Madison.
Don't listen to me. That's the only rule that you have. Okay? There's one rule to follow. If you're listening to me, you're probably going to get it wrong. All right. So yeah. All right. So the playoff quarterfinals are coming up this week, man. The playoff quarterfinals. I've been waiting for this since they announced a 12-team playoff, right? The first round was, you expected the teams to win that one. But I mean, this one going into it, man, we got the Fiesta Bowl with the Penn State versus Boise State. Both teams pretty good. You anticipate who's going to win that game, but let me continue the conversation. Texas, Arizona State. Obviously, we all think Texas is going to win that game, but we'll talk about that in a second. And then we got Ohio State, Oregon. That's going to be a badass matchup. And then you got Notre Dame, Georgia. I think that's going to be a great matchup as well. I think we have 4 good football games to watch this week. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So let's go ahead and start with Penn State and Boise State. Chances to play this is going to be the chance to play Georgia or Notre Dame, whoever wins this game. Penn State's going to have a tough time against Boise State, in my opinion, just because Penn State, while they have the 8th best running defense in the country, dude, I think Ashton Gentry's a beast, man. And I think it's going to be hard to stop them. But they are kind of one-dimensional, so.
It depends on how the defense shows up for Penn State. Well, if they can shut them down.
Penn State's going to be simple. This is going to, in my opinion, it's going to be a low-scoring game because Penn State's going to pack the box, go man over the top, and go, Genty, if you can run through 9 of us, then go run through us. And congratulations, you should have won the Heisman. That's what they're going to say. They're going to put 8, 9, 10, 8, sorry, not 10, but you're going to put 7, 8 guys in the box because he likes to run between the tackles before he breaks outside. And if he runs through that, it's going to be a long night for Penn State. I mean, it really is. But because the thing is this, if Boise State gets going and they churn that clock, you start limiting Penn State's offense and they get a little bit of a lead, crazier things have happened, a.k.a. Fiesta Bowl, Oklahoma, Boise State. So, I mean, my pick is that Penn State's going to win it. I think Boise State covers the 11-point spread.
So Boise State played Oregon early in the season, and I think it was the first or second game. Should have beat them. Yeah, I mean, it was. I think it was like a 2 or 3 point game. 2 point game.
If you recall, we were questioning Oregon.
Oh yeah,
we were. Yeah. So Oregon does not have as good of a run defense as Penn State does. So Penn State can win this game as long as they can stop Ashton Gentry. But I mean, it's just going to be tough, man. I think it's really going to be a hard hitting game going into that box, like you said, loaded up with like 9 players, and it's just going to be. I mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be fun to watch. I guarantee it. Low scoring game. Mountain Man. Give it to me, man.
Oh, I agree with
I need your expert opinion on this game.
I agree with Rebel. I mean, it's going to be low scoring. I'm not a big fan of Drew Aller in that offense, but I just don't see how Boise State's. I don't know how they're going to score. I mean, that's because like Rebel said, and you said 9, not 10. I bet they could probably put 11 in the box. I don't think I don't know if Boise's a threat to throw the ball very well, but I mean, Penn State wins. You say they cover. I think Penn State wins by 20.
Okay.
I wonder if they put Boise State in a position to play Penn State only because Penn State does have the number 8 rushing defense in the country. I wonder if they loaded. I mean, they figured it out based on.
No, I
that.
think they stacked it so they can get a Big Ten SEC national championship. That's what I think.
It's always possible as well.
I mean, it's a joke.
I think that. I mean, so of the games that we're gonna be watching, I think that Texas and Arizona State and Penn State and Boise State are the ones that are the most one-sided. Just because I think Penn State and Texas is a better team, but then again, I mean, these are both teams that can win. I mean, both of the Boise State can beat Penn State.
Look, there's been some teams that's run on Texas. I mean, they've got really good defense, but if they've had a moment where they faltered, it was in the run game. And guys, Scatterboot can play. That kid can run. I mean, he's fun.
Look, Arizona State is the most underrated team, and everybody's written them off.
Agree.
They were underdogs in that championship game. They destroyed Kansas State, completely destroyed them. Iowa State, excuse me.
Which is even bigger and better because I was
okay. They destroyed them. They wore them out completely, physically dominated them. I'm telling you right now, Texas is in for a dogfight. I'm not ready to call that there's going to be an upset here, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a good game only because the Arizona State defense, I don't know, holds up against Texas.
That's going to be who wins this game or loses this game is Arizona State's defense, because if they can keep it close and get some pressure on Ewers and get him rattled, and I'm telling you, at that point, then this game gets fun. If Arizona State can get within one score into the fourth quarter, don't be shocked to see if they pull off the upset.
And that's one of the notes that I had is, will Ewers show up the way that he can, or will he get in his own head and make these little mistakes that he makes and so forth? And you said that he's on a short leash right now.
I think so.
So, do you think the Arch Bannons end up playing this game?
They'll put him in for.
Well, they'll run some plays for him, but to pull him and just say, all right, Arch, it's your team moving forward.
They've done it before.
Look, you let Arizona State be leading at halftime, you will not see Ewers play for Texas again.
Wow, I mean, that would be interesting to see that happen too. But I mean, I'm not sure that Texas is going to get into that position, but Arizona State definitely showed that they can play against Iowa State. I mean, I'm not going to throw Texas out there for sure, but I think they are 13-point favorites.
They're 13.
In this game. Yeah. So, Mountain Man, what's up, brother? Tell me what you think about this game, man.
I mean, I've been saying Arizona State's been. I mean, it's because of the Big 12 stigma. Everybody thinks they're they're weak, but I mean they're extremely physical. They got a great running back. They got a good quarterback. They got a damn good. This coach he's past Ignetti on my new favorite fire plug coach. But I still think Texas is going to be too much. Texas top to bottom has got way more talent. They're way more deep. Arizona State probably covers, but I still think it's going to be a double digit. 10 or 11 point. Yeah.
Sam Levitt at Arizona State was just like, he's feeling pretty confident going into this game is what he's sounding like. But, he's like, I've been watching lots of tape on these guys,
Well, Scatterboot said no one can stop him. So we'll see what the trash talk gets you. It didn't work for Signetti, and we'll see if it works for these guys.
Does anyone know if Jordan Tyson is playing? He's the receiver that has 1,500 yards on that team. I'm not sure.
Why wouldn't he be?
Huh?
Why wouldn't?
I was trying to look it up, and I didn't see whether he was or whether he wasn't. No one was anywhere.
Haven't seen any reason that he would not be.
Okay. Yeah. I was just curious, that's all. Because that's going to be a big thing for Arizona State as well. The ability to pass. I think that he's faster than a lot of the corners that you're going to see at Texas. But, dude, Texas has a beast of a defense. It's the offense that we all know is the challenge over there.
Yeah.
But with Arizona, you also have to keep in mind they only had 8 turnovers this season, the entire season, 8 turnovers. But they took away the ball 22 times.
Ooh.
They're at the top of the list. So I'd be watching for turnovers because I think they can make them happen.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Rose Bowl, Ohio State versus Oregon. We do have the number 1 Ohio State fan in the country here in the studio right now, but he doesn't even want to hop on this podcast to even talk. But if you want to hop in here, Ripper the Predictor, who I fired after the second episode, come on in, man. Yeah, come on in, brother. This is going to be Ripper the Predictor's.
This is where you should play Family Tradition for a hot minute.
Yeah,
Ripper, I'm going to lead this off here. I'm going to introduce you.
Oh my God, I miss this.
That sounds like porn music, and he goes, "Oh, I miss this."
Come on in, Ripper Predictor. It's the New Year's. Is this going to be a New Year's tradition for you?
Oh, both hands on that microphone, you big
Can you
dog.
hear me okay?
Oh,
Is that good?
that feels so good.
All right, I'm not going to take up too much of your time.
Can I lead you in? Can I lead you in?
If you, carefully.
Thank you. Hey, Ohio State, man. Tell me what is going to happen in this Ohio State versus Oregon game. Ripper the Predictor.
No, I'm going to lead him in here. I'm going to lead him in. Sorry, I know I keep on interrupting you, and you keep on giving me.
Hey, leave me
Stink
a
side eye.
Here's where you're going to love me.
I always do.
Ohio State wins this game by 10.
By 10.
They're going in there.
I don't
gotta
like
tell
it when you pick us, but go ahead.
Last time I picked you, you guys were fine. Okay. Ohio State's going to go in there. They're going to figure this out. They only lost by 1 point last time, 2 points, whatever the heck it was. 1 point in a thriller. I think Ohio State's a better team now than they were before, and I'm not sure Oregon is.
Wow.
I got to tell you right now, Oregon is going to lose by 10 points. This is going to happen. Ripper, take it away.
All right, so there's some key factors to look here. Former South Carolina Gamecock defensive end Jordan Birch, he didn't play the first time these two teams met. He's healthy. He's back on the field. That's significant against the run game. Ohio State has a stigma. 4 years ago, when that team up north finally got a victory, they called Ohio State weak. They said they're not tough. So Ohio State's been trying to prove themselves to be a tough team. You're not a tough team, and that's okay. You're a finesse, explosive offense. Be that. If they get back to this gap running scheme, get their ball carriers the ball in space, let them make plays, they can win. If they try to go out and run the ball up the gut, you're going to get stuffed more than likely. That's not who this team is. Ryan Day needs to coach the way Ryan Day has been successful. That's getting the ball to his playmakers.
Hold on, someone's choking. Someone's
man
choking
down.
here.
Man down.
Oh my God, we got man down.
Hey, not that close to the microphone.
Chief, can you give him the Heimlich maneuver?
No, he said Ryan Day can coach, and I about shit my pants. I'm sorry. Anyway, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, Ryan Day is a good coach. I'm just worried that he's got this little taboo with Michigan right now,
He's good when he plays Indiana.
but it doesn't matter right now.
He's good when he plays Minnesota.
I think this
He's really good when he plays Tennessee.
Fair enough.
They did beat the shit out of Tennessee, and
But
that was unexpected.
that's not the game we're talking about. The game we're talking about is the Rose Bowl. I think the defense has made a lot of adjustments. I think Oregon's a better team than when we played them. But this is a neutral site. The Rose Bowl is not a foreign place for Ohio State or Ohio State fans. Ohio State fans travel well. I can't make a prediction, but I'm going to say Ohio State. I'll do it. We're going to go 31 bucks.
Woo! All right, so
This is going to be the closest matched game of the 4 playoff games.
I think this will be the best football game of the playoff season.
I think somebody over here is disagreeing
Yeah,
with you.
not so fast.
Not so. Hold on. Let me.
Not so
I think we
fast,
both
my
have
friend.
another team picked.
Ohio State is going to beat the shit out of them.
Oh, I'm in
Beat
love.
the shit out of Oregon.
I'm telling you right now. By the way, I've gotten over that. In the beginning of the year, when you looked at me and said Penn State was going to win by 30 over West Virginia, I sat there and I stewed about it. You were fucking right. You were almost right. So I got you back. I'm telling you. I think Ohio State beats Oregon. I mean, bad.
No.
I think that's going to be like that Tennessee game. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be like that Tennessee game. Oregon is not ready for it. Oregon should have lost the first time, and they're going to lose this time. And Ohio State's going to win big.
Well, here's a big factor. We were able to run the ball the first half of that initial game. Our left tackle goes out. We didn't run for shit by like 30 yards in the second half.
You guys were up 21-10 in the third quarter of that game, I think?
Yeah, we couldn't run the ball in the second half because we lost our left tackle. A few weeks later, we lost our All-American center.
All these guys are back.
No, they're not back.
But
we've got a makeshift. But again, do what you can do with your talent. Don't try to run it up the gut. Give your quarterback enough time to make a play, get it to your playmakers, and then you got a chance.
I mean, we all agree Tennessee has a pretty dynamic offense, right? And
their defense was what kept Tennessee going all year, and they looked like poo. I mean, they didn't do shit. They could not stop those three wide receivers.
Tennessee's defense took a step back. What game was it when they lost their linebacker, their all-world linebacker, and when they lost him, their defense lost continuity.
Well,
not taking anything away, not to take anything away from Ohio State. Ohio State beat them like a drum. I mean, you're talking about we're going to take their goalpost and throw it in the river. Shut your mouth and just win a game. But here's the thing I think with this game. Everybody's saying, "Oh, Ohio State, this, that, and the other." My point being with this is, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, until Ryan Day can take a game like this, get into a tight pinch, and make the decisions needed to make to win a ball game. I don't think he's got it in him yet. I mean, beating Tennessee, okay, that was a good step for him, honestly. That's a baby step for being able to win a big game, but I wouldn't call that a big game yet. This is a big game.
I hear you, and I'm with you on the Ryan Day thing, but there was that Georgia game, that semifinal game a couple years ago, that their kicker missed the field goal wide right. When Marvin Harrison Jr. was playing that game, Georgia was down by double digits. He went out of that game, Georgia came back and won. So there was an opportunity there for him.
Ripper's going to give you a hug.
In that game, Georgia's big bad defense was getting schooled by a loaded Ohio State offense.
You expect a Big Ten top-tier kicker to be able to kick a 47-yard field goal to win that game. That's the bottom line.
What I'm talking about in the back game, if you want to take it back to that, it should have never came to that. It should have never, even without Harrison there, they were still moving the ball and they would stall. That game should have never come down to that field goal.
Well, no, I'm not disagreeing with you there.
Look,
I'm just saying.
we've seen Georgia be able to come roaring back after being down by multiple scores. Look at the Alabama game this year. Like Kirby Smart's top 3 coach in the country right now, if not top one. I mean, so I don't blame that on Ryan Day. There was a complete change to the game after they were down by almost 3 scores, or they were down by 18, 19 points.
Yes.
So, but again, you still expect your kicker to be able to kick a 47-yard field goal at that level. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's
but
true.
we're talking about with the way past. All I'm saying is
It's not always about the kicker.
Well, no, my thing is this. You talk about Ohio State and their talent and how deep they are, this, that, and the other. Marvin Harrison's a great player, and losing him was huge. You should have had 3 behind him that should have been able to at least pull that game out from where they were.
And that's true. And they did, but the Ryan Day thing choked.
Ryan Day changed what he was doing. If he had stayed with what he was doing and trusted his players, they win the ball.
No, you're right.
So, Rebel, you think Oregon's going to win this game, though?
If I'm putting money on it, I'm going with Oregon in a tight one. Again, it's going to come down late in the fourth quarter. There's going to be a decision. It has to be made by Ryan Day, and if he makes it, they win the game. If they don't, he's fired.
To put the kicker in, or what?
It could be anything. It could be going on 4th down. It could be, a 3rd and long, and we try to run a stupid draw up the middle or something like that. That's going to be a bad decision.
If the game's tight, I agree with you. He's going to choke it away. If it's tight, he's going to screw it up.
The best thing he could do is jump on them early and just keep kicking them while they're down. If he does that, and then, hey,
If Tennessee would have made that game close,
he'd found a way to lose it.
Yeah, I agree with that. What's the spread on that game, just out of curiosity?
I think it's only
2.5.
2.5.
But
Ohio State.
Ohio State's favorite by 2.5.
State's favorite, 2.5.
I mean, both Dylan Gabriel and Will Howard had phenomenal games when they played each other back in, what was it, September, October? Late September or something like that. So both of those guys had great games. I expect both of them to have great games again. I mean, they're both freaking phenomenal quarterbacks. This is going to be the closest game of the week, for sure. But then again, you say Mountain Mama over here thinks differently.
I think it's a blowout, but I will agree with Rebel that if the game's close, Ryan Day could screw it up. But I don't think it's going to get close. That's
Sugar Bowl, Notre Dame versus Georgia. Georgia is only 1.5 point favorite right now. 45 points expected in this game, so 22 points apiece?
Georgia's going to be going with their backup quarterback.
Yeah, and that's a scary thing. Gunnar Stockton played one game. We have a sample size of one game right now, basically half a game. Sorry,
half a game.
it cannot
2
be
quarters.
worse. It cannot be worse.
amen.
You guys are banking on Beck to have been
No.
a better quarterback?
Hold on. I'm banking on Beck to be a better quarterback because he has 2 seasons of experience. Now, while he threw 3 interceptions 3 games in a row, totally different story on that. But Gunnar Stockton is he's a crapshoot. He's basically, let's just throw $10,000 on Black real fast.
I gotta tell you,
good.
Gunnar looked okay against
pretty
Texas,
good.
and he was stone
He had
cold.
100.
I agree.
He had 106 yards passing. That's
This
it and
kid's
a
a
half.
5-star freaking recruit.
But he had 106 yards passing in a half.
That's
in
good.
a low scoring tie. I thought he played. As a matter of fact, his first play was a pass play. They didn't even dumb it down.
And he's
for him.
good on his feet.
Yeah, he can take a shot too.
I gotta tell you, it's not a downgrade. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think it is. I think it might even be an upgrade. I think it might even
Are we talking a Tua situation here?
I think so.
You're a freshman quarterback. It's your first game that you're starting basically, and you're in
the first game that you get all first team reps. Okay, cool.
and it's a playoff game. That's a humongous stage that he's on right now. And it comes down to whether he is on that stage and is like, this is my chance, let me do it, and he freaking does it. But then again, there's about a 75% chance that this guy just gets sacked the fucking first play, and it's in his head the rest of the game.
Not just sacked the fucking first play. Okay, here's all I'm saying. I think number one is Notre Dame is surprising us a little bit. That early loss to Northern Illinois,
They're way past that now.
They dominated a lesser Indiana team, so it's hard to gauge. But I got to tell you, if you look at their end of the season, they finished strong, man.
Notre Dame's a good team.
I think they really are.
There's a reason why this game is 1.5 points.
The desert knows. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. So there's a reason why it's only minus 1.5. I think the wild card in this one is Gunnar, to be honest with you. And depending on how he performs, it can be a 20-point win or it might be a 20-point loss.
I don't think that offensive line is going to let Notre Dame do much.
That Notre Dame defense
I think they'll be. I think they'll be sacked. I think they'll be fired up.
That Georgia offensive line has disappointed all year long.
Georgia.
I think they'll show up for Notre Dame though.
Yeah, but Georgia is not the team that they were on offense or on defense last year. Defensively, I think that Notre Dame is more of a running game rather than a passing game. We could say that. I feel like Georgia, that defense is not impenetrable.
You tell any SEC team that Notre Dame is going to come in and
The
dominate
SEC
them.
homer
Game
himself.
on,
Yeah,
game on, game on,
I'm really worried about the
Game
SEC rhetoric
Game on.
of. I'm sorry. Did Vanderbilt beat Alabama? What the shit? Like,
Look,
why are we talking about the SEC mafia? Anybody that comes to the SEC, they're going to lose. Yeah.
Guys,
say
here's
that.
something to be considered.
I said Notre Dame.
Thank you.
Because we talk about this before the Indiana game last week. You know who the last ranked teams Notre Dame played? Army and Navy. And before that, it was the first game of the season, Texas A&M. So my point being is we've just railed Indiana for their poor schedule. We've railed on SMU and Clemson. Their schedule isn't much better based off of the body of work they're doing to where, hey, they're going to come in here and blow Georgia out. They might. And they're playing good, but you got to look at what they're playing. I mean, USC played the crap out of them, and they won what? They went 7-6 or something like that. So, again, have we really seen Notre Dame get pushed? I don't think so.
I think the game's really close, and the freshman quarterback for Georgia either will make the difference or won't.
I definitely think this is the best game of the week.
He's a 5-star, so he's gonna play well. But I mean, he is unproven. There is no way that we can know for sure how this guy's going to play. And I mean, like I said, 50-50 shot, man. I think it's actually like a 30% shot that he actually plays good. And Notre Dame, they have the experience on their side on offense and on defense. I don't know. Georgia has a better defense than Notre Dame, but I think they're
Do they?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean,
again, you got to look at who they're playing.
Yeah,
can't play anybody.
I hear you, but I mean, Notre Dame, they're just not that. They're not that team that was getting blown out in playoff games.
Indiana averaged
They're
like
better.
38 points a game.
Yeah, they're
playing bottom tier Big Ten team.
I think Georgia wins, but I think this game's going to be a fun game.
Who did Georgia beat?
Georgia Tech in 8 overtimes.
Oh, Georgia Tech.
Alabama.
Who lost to who?
Georgia is
Vanderbilt.
not the team that they have been in the
They're
past.
not. They're a depleted team. Like, stop thinking they're going to world beat the shit out of Notre Dame this year.
Notre Dame can win this game for sure. That's the reason why
if they're going to beat them in a year, this is going to be the freaking year.
Yeah,
Georgia beat Massachusetts 59-21.
Man,
Yes,
they trailed in that game, by the way. They trailed in that game, and you're right. Georgia really has not, other than Texas twice.
they
Beat Alabama.
Huh?
They beat Alabama, didn't they?
No, they lost to
No, that's
Alabama.
right. They did lose.
Alabama.
They lost to Ole Miss.
God, I need more bourbon.
They only beat Kentucky
We
by 1 point.
offered.
They beat Kentucky by 1 point.
Ripper, get this guy a bourbon,
No,
man.
please, no, do not.
No,
Please.
you guys shits through a
him
screen
a
for 3
bourbon.
straight days. Okay, give him a break. He's trying to play golf tomorrow.
Georgia Tech took them to 8 overtimes. I
Or
mean,
work.
We're not sponsored by Buffalo Trace, but hey, it helps the show actually be better sometimes. So go ahead and grab this guy.
If you're listening to Kentucky, help us out. All I'm saying is, if Notre Dame is going to win a year, this might be it. This is
I agree.
This is a depleted Georgia team. First time I haven't seen a dominant running back. First time I haven't seen a dominant wide receiver. First time, and now you're talking about a freshman quarterback, defense that has been oftentimes porous. I mean, they're one pass away from losing to South Carolina and being out of this talk entirely. And the fact that they would have. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Auburn.
Or Alabama.
Alabama, yep.
Have another, brother.
Jealousy gets you nowhere, sir.
It's a lot of bourbon.
Thanks for supplying, guys at the bar talking sports.
Cheers.
But all I'm saying is they have not been dominant this year. We know that. And their defense is not dominant. And I honestly think probably 45 is going to be pretty close. I bet you 27-24 is going to be the final score. I just don't know which way to call it.
I think that Notre Dame actually wins this game,
I
honestly.
agree. It's Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's scary to think that Georgia's going to get beat by Notre Dame, but I mean,
I don't think so.
I just
Not so fast.
No,
Give me the button.
I think Georgia wins, but
Not
it'll be close.
so fast, my friend.
Yeah, no way
Georgia wins.
do they allow Notre Dame to beat them. No, they'll do everything.
Hey,
they can.
everybody, Ripper wants everybody to know
Ripper, you wanna come here and talk on the
if
microphone?
Riley from the quarterback from Notre Dame can run the ball, then that's going to be a difference maker, and that is the point that he wants to make. Get in here. Here's the microphone.
so
Use both hands, you dirty. Okay, let's move.
Georgia has been shown that they can play against a team that has a running quarterback, but it's the other stuff that goes along with that as well. Georgia has been fine against both of that. That's all I got to say. But then again, Notre Dame's going to win this game. So hey, moving on. You give me the finger like move on from this conversation. So let's move on from the conversation.
I got to go cook dinner.
Yeah, NFL Rookie of the Year. I wanted to bring this up.
You ain't cooking shit.
Jaden Daniels, Commanders, kind of like leading the pack right now. Brock Bowers, Raiders. Dude, this guy is a beast, right? Why are y'all laughing at me?
Because it's the Raiders.
It's the Raiders. He still has 108 catches. We just
Broke Mike
He just
Diska's
broke
tight end.
Mike Diska's record. Yeah.
and set the rookie record over Puka Nacua last year. Are you kidding me? Like, you didn't put that in your chat GTP, but that's truth right there.
Yeah, he did that in spite of being on the Raiders.
That's where I was going. Can you imagine if he played for a good team?
Who the hell was his quarterbacks?
Quarterbacks. Yeah. David
Naga, not going to be there next year. That's who their names are.
And then we got Bo Nix, Denver. I mean, who wins Rookie of the Year?
Jaden Daniels is one.
Jaden Daniels wins it.
To him.
Yep.
Hands down. I'll tell you what, if Bo Nix had completed that last pass in that freaking game against Cincinnati, which would have just chafed Rebels' ass, I got to tell you, he might be in the running. And he had a slow start this year, which rookies do. And I think Jaden Daniels also did. But I got to tell you,
he came out the gate screaming.
2 yards over that guy's hands in that freaking final play of that darn game. If he had hit that, we'd be talking Bo Nix time.
I heard Bo Nix, since he's so old, he's retiring next season.
His hips are going to give out next year,
man.
okay? Like, I've never seen a 29-year-old rookie or whatever.
I'll tell you a guy, if he'd have started at the beginning, Michael Penix Jr. is the real deal. I don't know if y'all got to see any of that game last night. The guy's good.
That was a fun game to watch.
Fun.
It wasn't fun for me, but,
Super fun game. And here's the deal. Like, I was a Michael Penix hater, to be honest with you, at the beginning of the season. Kirk Cousins, after week 6, should have been benched.
Yeah.
Atlanta would have no problem winning the NFC South. So
Hey, y'all. So, this being
AFC
said,
South.
I'm going to go ahead and change the topic really fast, okay? So, usually we do like a what the fuck moment, right? But this is the New Year's Eve edition of Guys Running Sports. So everybody at the beginning of every year, what do they do? What do we do at the beginning of the year? We come up with a New Year's what? A New Year's resolution.
I thought it was a New Year's prediction on this. Okay, go ahead.
New Year's okay, let's fucking change it then. We're not doing New Year's resolutions. We're doing New Year's predictions. So what do you predict for college football next year? Who wins the national championship next year? Fuck it. What? We're just gonna do that. I changed my plan. We're not gonna do New Year's resolutions. We're gonna do who wins the national championship. Mountain. Who wants to start? You know what? Fuck it. I'll start. Florida Gators win the national championship. All right.
Things just went downhill.
Not so fast, my friend.
No, we're gonna have to get Landon to go. Yes, so fast. That's terrible.
That's a great idea. Landon is going to do a yes so fast.
You're
my
gonna
friend.
have to line that up.
Can you line that up for me?
Yeah,
We can line this up.
we're gonna need.
Yes so fast, my friend.
Yes, so fast, my friend. Go. No. Yes, so fast, my friend. Go Balls.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. All right. So the Gators win the national championship next year. That's my prediction. My New Year's rezo prediction for the year. So what do you got, Mountain Man?
Well, if we're going to start saying dumb shit, West Virginia's going to win the national championship.
Oh, I love
Rich
it.
Rod, baby. Take me
All
home,
right.
country roads.
I should probably actually put that as one of my little sounds that I use.
I'm not going to go off the rails here with something like that, but I think this will be one that's fun. That's not who's going to win the national championship. South Carolina plays for the SEC championship next year.
I can see that.
That would be awesome. All right.
I hope you're right, by the way. I really do.
Chief.
Bill Belichick makes a big impact with the ACC.
Good deal. Do they play for the ACC championship?
They win it.
What?
I mean, why not? The ACC's wide open. Why not?
I mean, we are making predictions for the 2025. So, all right, Cheeks, who do you got, man? Come on into that microphone, though. Get close to the microphone.
Well, if I want to go wild like you guys, I'm going to say USC, Southern California, is going to make the playoffs.
Ooh, that would be big. Mm-hmm. That would be big after this season. And Rooster.
Oh, hell, here we go.
So far,
Syracuse.
So far, none of your predictions are going to come. Well, maybe the South Carolina prediction. Sellers, baby. Sellers. All right. Well, I'm going to stick with the national championship, and thank God you picked Florida because that's just a terrible pick.
So
if you want to bet a beer on my pick versus your pick, then just let me know.
You haven't given it yet.
Damn, this is going to be good.
I think next year the national championship will be Ohio State.
Ooh, Ohio State. Okay. You want to come in here and talk?
Just say Penn State.
So Ripper
Is James Franklin still coaching next year? Then they don't win it.
Yeah, Ripper says Penn State, and I'll bet a beer on that too.
All right, and who you got there?
You can get your beer back from this year.
So I like South Carolina in the SEC championship against the Auburn.
Here we go.
Tigers.
I knew that was
The
coming.
repeat of 2010. However, Lenora Sellers goes down, not like Cam Newton did.
How is that?
And that top 5 recruiting class, national championship next year.
Auburn. Oh yeah. How is that going to happen when
Florida
Florida
and
win?
Eagle.
How is it Florida versus Auburn in the national championship game?
It could happen because you're going to be third place.
Let's go ahead and wind this show down. This New Year's Eve. Let's go ahead and wind this New Year's Eve show down.
Here
All right.
are the sweaty balls we have found.
My New Year's resolution is to consider other conferences next year.
My New Year's resolution is to keep this show going all year long. Maybe not. All right, so at least 3 more weeks. Thank you all for joining, guys.
again.
The Bar Talking
Sports. See ya.